MJD Beats.
Live on the National Sports Studios from Spreaker.com, you are listening to In the Paint with Jordan Hunter and your host, Cameron Sadeghi.
Hello and welcome to In the Paint with Cameron Sadeghi and Jordan Hunter. We have a lot to talk about today. Jordan got an opportunity to go to another great Kevin Johnson dinner, and he saw the legend himself, number 23, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Did Michael just boast the entire time about how great he is?
There's a little bit of that, definitely. He talked about, how he used to post up on Kevin Johnson and how he was scoring 41 on him. And, yeah, he talked about his childhood a lot, and he didn't mention much of the current players, but more of the old-school rivalries. But Mr. Kevin Johnson tried to keep it a lot off of basketball and more on where he grew up and his charity work.
Well, that's great. So, for Michael, do you think he still kind of has that bitter fire in him, or is Michael trying to be the nice guy, even though he's now a Bobcats owner and a retired NBA player?
I think he's still trying to be a nice guy. I don't know. This one, didn't really pay him, so he was kind of just coming because he was asked so much to come by Kevin Johnson. I think he still has that nice guy in him, though.
I think Mike's a nice guy too, but he's probably one of the greatest self-promoters we've ever seen. It's true. Okay, let's move on and talk about some of the stories that just occurred a few days ago. And recently, Chris Humphries is now on the Wizards. So in a sign and trade with Boston, now you got Paul Pierce, now you have Chris Humphries. Does that really put Washington up there in the top three?
Oh, gosh. Not with Chris Humphries. It helps because they also lost Trevor Booker today, and Pierce helps a lot too. The top three, no. I still have them behind Indiana, Cleveland, and Chicago. So you have to change your rankings with Chicago getting this all.
Okay, I'll say this. I'll put Chicago up ahead of Washington. I don't think Washington's in the top three yet. But I still have to have in my top three, no order, Toronto, Chicago, and Cleveland. No order. And then the fourth spot, Washington. I think Indiana's a 5 seed.
If they can retain Lance Stevenson, I think they're a premier team in the East still. But if signs point to him leaving, they're going to try to work out a deal with him. It may take a while, but they're an interesting team. Indiana is. I don't see a team like Washington falling to the bottom of the Eastern playoff picture, but. With adding a guy like Pierce, and Washington's not going to ask him to do as much as Brooklyn asked him to do to be the second or third scorer because they already have Nene and Wall and Beal. So they're going to ask him if he starts to be a guy who can take advantages and get to the basket. And then with Humphries he's a great big man. Who rebounds well, hustles. So I think Washington might have got a little better. I don't think they regressed at all. They might have stayed the same, but it was definitely some good pickups for them.
Yeah, I think. Well, do you think they will be because the regular season, in the East, it's not going to be that big of a factor because Washington has proved they can win on the road. And do you think they will be a better playoff team?
Yeah, depth is huge, as we saw in the finals and throughout the playoffs for the most part. And adding Pierce and Humphreys to a team that already has guys like Otto Porter, who's trying to move up in the depth chart, and Andre Miller, and your boy Al Harrington, if he ever get off the bench, and Glenn Rice Jr. So depth is a huge thing, and I think that adding those two guys, even though they did lose Booker and Ariza, adding those two guys, which is a veteran presence in Pierce for the more than Humphreys, but adding Pierce, a championship mentality. If anyone wants to step to him, he can just show him his ring and say, "Back up."
Yep. Paul Pierce, he's always been a great, one of my favorite players. People call him a traitor in Boston. I don't know how. I mean,
a trade. They were going down. How was he?
I know.
He jumped ship before it got too bad.
I don't blame Pierce. He did really well in Boston throughout all the criticism, and then he went to Brooklyn and outperformed, and now he's coming to Washington where, again, he's going to prove to everybody how great he is. But I agree. I think Chris Humphries is such an underrated player, really. I mean, he averaged, the best year was when he averaged a double-double. He's a great rebounder. I think he's, a top 10, top 15 rebounder when healthy and when everything is going right. So for Washington, I mean, you lose Booker, but this is a very good replacement for Booker. So I think it's a great move for Washington. Let's go to another move that happened. Well, actually, a guy who's staying, Dwayne Wade. South Beach will still be Dwayne Wade's home. Do you think that's the right choice?
Yeah, there were said to be offers from Chicago wanting to talk to him again, as they tried to in 2010. But I think Miami's the right move for him, because they're not a bad team. They got Dang, they got Bosch, they got Wade, and Granger and McRoberts, and they kept Chalmers. I think it was the right move for Wade. He wants to be a lifer. He leads that franchise in so many categories: steals, minutes, points, assists. So field goals made too. I think it was the right move for Wade, because they're going to try to groom him, and I think in 6 years Wade's the GM of that team or the coach.
Yeah, I agree. I think Miami can be kind of a wild card team, a dangerous team in the playoffs. I mean, if a team faces an injury, Miami could all of a sudden have a huge impact. Kind of like what happened between Chicago and Philadelphia when Derrick Rose went down. So I think they could kind of have that dark horse, ability. Does Miami have that, or do you think they're a little bit old to maybe accomplish an upset?
I think you're right when you talk about the dark horse mentality. They definitely are the new dark horse, because in the East, the front runners, like you said, Cleveland, Chicago, and probably Toronto, maybe Indiana, but I don't know about them yet. They could definitely be a dark horse. I can see them if they face a first round team like Toronto. They could give them issues, maybe even beat them. Wade's getting more creative as he gets older in ways to score, and his three-pointer was never really good, but he can shoot it sometimes. But I think they're a decent team, and him only taking 2 years to that deal means he'll probably take less when that deal comes up.
Yeah, you make some great points there. I think Wade's become a smarter player. Ever since he's lost some athleticism and he's lost his step, but he's been able to recover that because he has a great mind for the game. I think the team still has a lot of talent, like you said. McRoberts, Granger's a great 3-point shooter. McBuckets can get to the basket with such ease. Mario Chalmers, he's a great 3-point shooter too, and I think the team has a shot. I mean, Toronto had some flaws in the playoffs, and maybe Miami, with their veteran group, could maybe get it in 7. I don't know. But I would love to see Cleveland against Miami in the first round. That would be great. I would love to see that as a first round matchup.
What do you think of Dang signing with the Heat for only 2 years, $20 million?
I think it's good for Miami in the future because now, you can attract more free agents, you'll have more money. So I think Miami really stole Dang in a way. They got a bargain.
Yeah.
And Dang has it all. He's got the defensive part. He can do it offensively. So I think it's just a perfect pickup.
I want to move on to Dirk. Dirk's staying in Dallas probably till this is probably his last contract before he has to retire. I'm hearing it's 3 years, $25 million. After he reportedly got other offers from the Lakers and Houston for $20 million per year. So obviously we all knew Dirk was going to stay. He wasn't going to go anywhere. Cuban wasn't going to let him go anywhere. But adding Dirk to at such a low cost, this really helps them for the future, and it keeps them flexible with cap space. Where do you see Dallas during the season? Do you see him as a middle tier team fighting for a playoff spot, top 3 teams?
I think they're fighting for a playoff spot because they're kind of getting older, and Dirk at the end of the year, he went back to old Dirk, got really hot, played great basketball. Can he do it one more year? I mean, Phoenix is coming, New Orleans maybe, I don't know. Do you think Dallas has enough in the tank for the 8th spot?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think one more move they didn't make is to re-sign Sean Marion and not let him go.
Yeah.
Because even if he's going to be coming off the bench, which he probably will, he's still a big piece to that team because they lost a guy like Vince Carter, and their depth is looking a little slim without him and Marion on the team. I think their team who could make the playoffs, they need big performances from Dirk, which he gave a lot, and Monte Ellis, who had a great start to the beginning of the year, but kind of regressed as the season went on.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyson Chandler is going to be huge for them.
Yeah, that's true.
I think defensively and offensively, if there's a missed shot, he's there for the tip-in or the put-back dunk. Chandler Parsons, he was saying he was offended by the whole Houston Rockets process, and he thought he was that 3rd star. He said, yeah, they told me they were looking for a 3rd star. I thought that I was that guy. And Chandler, this is your year to prove it. If you think you're the 3rd star, you got 2 other stars in Dallas. Prove it. Prove it that you can play on an all-star caliber level.
I think Chandler will prove that. And thinking about it, the 8th spot's going to be so interesting in the West. 7 and 8. It always is every year, but especially this year. With the additions of Chandler, Parsons, and Tyson Chandler. So, I think, to me, what would really put them over the top is if they can get Lance Stevenson. That's going to be very tough. But Sean Marion is huge because he is a big-time defender, and that's something they really struggled with last year. And, Sean Marion is such a great individual defender that he could really put them over the top, honestly.
Do you think do you think Stevenson would be willing to take a sixth man role on any team? Because you were talking about Atlanta the last show, and we don't know if he'd start on that team. And same with Dallas. You think he could move Monte to the bench?
Oh, I think that's a slap to Monte because he played great last year.
Yeah.
Man, that's tough. Ultimately, for Lance, I think he should go to a losing team and try to be a star. Just try to be like James Harden again. I don't think. You know what? I agree with you. I don't think Lance could be a six man really anymore. He's got to be the starter.
Yeah, because you look at a team like Atlanta, put him in a starting five with guys who already want the ball like T. Well, I think actually Atlanta's a better fit because he can be another ball handler / creator that they didn't really have last year. Because Corver is a shooter. Damari Carroll couldn't really create offense, so I think Stevenson in Atlanta is a perfect fit. Socially in the clubs. A big win during the Saturday during the daytime. Saturday night he's partying in a Atlanta club. So I think that'd be perfect for him. Or does he go to Dallas and maybe go to Dallas and start line dancing? I don't know.
Oh my god.
Whatever they do down there in Dallas, but yeah, he's a jack of all trades the way he plays.
Yeah, he's definitely entertaining. I mean, that guy, he's like a circus act himself, Lance. He's so... We talk about him every single show. We love the guy so much. So, by the way, I just found out something. I know this is kind of random, but my sister saw Kevin Durant at the gym in L.A., and she's talking about how big Durant is, and I guess Durant is at the UCLA gym because that's the gym my sister goes to. So,
Wow,
Durant's getting work in at the gym. Maybe he always does. I think he likes LA a lot. He's come to Sparks games a few times, so just interesting to hear about Durant. But
speaking of Durant, I was hearing reports on why they signed Pierce to such a small deal. And I guess Washington's trying to make sure they have space for Durant in 2016.
Yeah, I heard about that. Wow. If you got Durant and Wall and Beal, and that team would be completely stacked all the way around. Can they do it? I think Durant wants to get paid big because he's now on the cover of 2K15. He was the MVP. So he's going to definitely want a max contract, and I don't know if Washington really has that because you got to pay Wall big, you got to pay Beal big, and Gortat Nene issue is just so big. You got so many players that you have to pay big. It's going to be tough to fit in the MVP of the league.
Yeah, Beal next year, I think they can either opt in or he'll be a restricted free agent if they don't. And yeah, if they can land Durant in his hometown, if he pulls a LeBron and say, I'm coming home, it'd be such a story for the Washington area as a whole.
Let me ask you this. Would it be good if Oklahoma City did the same thing like they did to... the same thing Cleveland did to LeBron and burn his jerseys too? Because we live in a society like that. Anybody who leaves, we have to burn a jersey. Why? It's a business decision.
A part of it was the way LeBron left.
But let me...
I think yes, some Thunder fans would burn jerseys. But again, I think a part of it was the decision. The way he said, the whole hour special, I'm taking my talent to South Beach.
But let me just...
I don't think Cleveland fans like that.
Well, okay, but let's think about all the times any player has moved. Dwight Howard comes out of Los Angeles, now he's booed in every single arena. Let's no, honestly, when
Not
Jason
just in LA, every arena.
basically, when Tracy McGrady left Orlando, he was booed. I mean, why? I'm trying to think of some other players. Chris Paul even. Chris Paul didn't do anything. All he did was just get traded to the Clippers, right? And
Yeah, I think one of it is all those guys you named. They never brought a championship to that city, so I
But-
think the fans are like, I think the fans are like, why are you quitting? Like, why are you quitting on us without, giving us? Like, besides Chris Paul, why are you quitting on us without giving us a chance to, to win a championship?
but that's so. That's so.
But LeBron, I understand, because LeBron, he was there for 7 years, nothing happened. So I understand with LeBron.
Nothing
even after getting to
happened.
the finals, huh?
Nothing happened.
Well, no, like as in no championships. Like after getting to the finals, you think Dan Gilbert would try to get the lineup better so they can go to the finals again and win a championship. But like with Tracy McGrady, guys like Dwight, that was inevitable. You knew that was gonna happen.
Oh God.
Hey, Dwight was not gonna bring a championship to Orlando or LA.
He's bringing one to Houston.
Oh sure.
He is. When he becomes the number one option, everybody get out of the way because Superman is in Houston and Houston won't have any problems.
All right, okay. They lost 3 rotation players: Ashik, Lynn, and Parsons. Who'd they get? They got some no-name guys.
I think Terrence Jones is gonna burst out of the scene.
Oh, I forgot about Terrence Jones. But you really think that's enough to compete with teams like a juggernaut offense like Portland? All-around great team like San Antonio. A three-point shooting team like Golden State, or even the Clippers. Do you think they can really compete? Because you said the key is for Howard to be the number one piece in the offense. I don't think McHale sees it that way, though.
Well, McHale then should be fired. Well, no, I don't want anybody to get fired, but management should come after McHale then if he thinks that. Let me ask you this. When Howard was the number one option in the Portland series, at the end of the series, when in Game 6 in the fourth quarter, who produced more?
Howard.
Exactly, so then why isn't he the number one option?
I just feel like they think they have, because they have James Harden there, and he's such, a volume scorer that they have to feature. He has to be the number one option.
I just hope James Harden, really says, you know what, Dwight, I'm going to concede to you because we need to win badly, and we're not getting out of the first round again. That was just ridiculous.
They're not getting out of the first round. I think even if they have Dwight, I don't think they get out the first round. It's the West is too competitive.
But I think, but don't you think though, like, even though losing Lynn, Ashik was kind of having some problems on the bench, and he was having problems with the rotations and everything. He was voicing his opinion. But honestly, if Dwight Howard improves the way that he's been improving, it will mask all those issues.
Yeah, that's true. But then where does Harden fit in?
Well, okay, this is what I think. If they're down 1 and there's 10 or 8 seconds left,
You go to Harden.
yeah. But if it's just the fourth quarter, if there's 2 minutes to go, I'm going Howard first and playing off of him. But if I need to get a quick shot off, I'm going with Harden. Just like Kobe and Shaq. Shaq never shot the .4 shot. Derek Fisher shot it. Kobe would shoot buzzer beaters with 5 seconds left. Shaq would take the ball. Shaq would get integrated with 5 minutes to go. That's the way it should be.
That's true. So a lot of teams do try to do that. What was it? Oh yeah. So Mike Miller to the Cavs. Do you think that's a good move by the Cavs? Mike Miller left more money on the table than he could have gotten, say, Denver Nuggets. What do you think of that move?
I think it's great. I think Mike Miller really enjoys playing with LeBron James because he's been sacrificing, the pocketbook just so he can play with LeBron James, and I think he'll have a lot of success in Cleveland because there are so many guys. He's going to be playing in key minutes, but not too many minutes. I thought in Memphis he played a little bit too much at his age. But now, limited minutes. I think it's a great move. I still think they need one more shooter. You can't just do it with Mike. You need one more guy.
Yeah. Do you? Now this is with the Cleveland, and Dion Waiters was in a Q&A on Twitter, and he was asked by a fan if he'd be okay being a sixth man. He said no with multiple O's. What do you do with that situation, like with the Cavs starting five? Because Waiters, Irving, Wiggins, and LeBron, there's one ball. I don't know if you can have all four of those guys as a starter. Do you play Wiggins at the long two and have LeBron at the small forward?
Oh, yeah, I think you do. I think you have to tell Dion Waiters. I would tell Dion this. If I'm David Blatt, I would say what you did at Syracuse was incredible. And we need to replicate that. And I would try to convince Dion that there are going to be times where you will get more minutes than a starter if you're playing well as a sixth man. But we need you to be the ultimate creator off the bench. That's how I think you should sell it to Dion. You should say, you will be the main guy off the bench. And I think Dion will buy in. If it's for a championship, trust me, Dion, you better buy in. I mean, you're not going to come up short for LeBron and Kyrie making this whole experiment, or else LeBron may have to leave. So,
you think LeBron would actually leave Cleveland again?
Well, we heard some of the locker room issues last year. If it gets really bad, we saw the demise of the Chicago Bulls. We've seen the demise of the Lakers in the early 2000s. Anything can happen.
But what I really liked when LeBron first said he was going to Cleveland, in that letter, he said, "This is a promising young team." He says he's coming in with patience. He knows it's not going to be an overnight success. He knows they're not going to go out and win 65 games the first season. And, they're projected like a 52-win team. And I think LeBron knows that they're probably not going to win a championship in the first year. They're probably going to get out in the Eastern Conference Finals to say Chicago. I really like Chicago.
I do too.
Yeah, they're a really good team, right? I think they can make it to the finals with if this is all of Derrick Rose is back to normal.
I don't think Derrick Rose is going to be the same.
Why? Wait, because of the surgeries, or just because he's been out of basketball so long?
No, I think he'll be in shape and everything, but I don't think. To me, I think he's going to lose a lot of his athleticism because he gambled at trying to come back and rushing it.
You think he really rushed it coming back last year? He had such a long recovery time though.
You know what? I felt like the media and just the people around him pressured him way too much. Honestly, I just feel like I want to see if his skills have gotten so much better where even if he loses a few steps athletically, can he recover that skills-wise? I hope he does. I hope. But I don't know.
Do you think it's a gamble him being on the training camp for the USA basketball for the World Cup? And if he makes a team, do you think that's a gamble for him to actually play?
Yeah, I think it is. I think First, I think he should not play too many games right now because 82 games, just the regular season, is going to be a lot, plus preseason. I think he needs to make sure that his knees are fine. He's doing, I know this may sound really silly, but like recovery exercises, skill work, weight room work. I think you have to make sure all of that is developed before you test yourself. Games are a test. Practice is homework. Do your homework first before the test, Derek.
So you're kind of taking the really precautionary road.
Yeah.
So you don't think of this if he makes the 12-man squad. You don't see this USA World Cup as kind of a conditioning for him, kind of get him into game shape, because that's really what's going to be happening. Is he's going to be playing in these games, and going to be getting him ready.
But I think he can get in game shape through development. I know I get it when people say there's nothing like playing in a game. You can never really get in shape for playing a game and by doing other exercises. But I think because of the amount of games and the quick turnarounds, it's really, you're risking it. You're risking it right now. I think when he first plays in the season, put him in for 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes. Don't go out and play him for 40. Ease him in. You can't just play him for 40 to 45 minutes. That's just beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, tell Thibodeau that he loves overworking his guy.
They get in the gym and it's like, honestly, they're doing defensive slides for like 2.5 hours, running suicides for another 30 minutes. These guys get no chance to take a break.
Yeah, I felt bad for Jimmy Butler, who in an overtime game was playing like 48, 49 minutes. Like, poor Jimmy. But back to the Bulls as a team, look at their roster up and down. Rose, Dunleavy, they just amnestied Boozer, so he's gone. Gibson, Joakim Noah,
Perfect.
Gasol. They just brought over Nikola Mirotic from Croatian Basketball League. McDermott, he's probably going to make the squad. Heinrich, that's a really good team.
That's a great team. I think they have it now offensively. You got a guy like Gasol and then Noah, who are the two best passing, big men that you could find really besides Marc Gasol. And now with Rose and Dunleavy's got the 3 ball still. Gibson's just the energy guy. He gets all the dirty plays. He's Rodman, essentially, in a way, without the tats and the nose rings. But he's like Rodman. He plays that Rodman role, and I think for Chicago, we know they're going to bring it defensively. Can they put up enough offense with a healthy Derrick Rose facilitating? Chicago, Cleveland, Eastern Conference Finals would definitely go 7 games.
Go ahead.
I would probably give the edge to Chicago.
Yeah, I was gonna say one thing I worry about though is do they have too much depth on the wings? Cause,
yeah.
If you've been watching any of the summer league, you've seen guys like Tony Snell and Doug McDermott. They're balling out, and Heinrich has the backup point guard role. Thibodeau's probably not going to go more than 9 deep, maybe. So, you have guys you probably have Butler and probably Dunleavy at the 2 and the 3. So, where do guys like Mirotic and McDermott and Snell, where do those guys fit in? Because it's a crowded bench for that team.
I think. I agree, but I think Snell and Mirotic and all these young guys, I think they're willing to develop. And I think Chicago has a great developmental process. They really develop guys well, and I think they will be fine. They're willing to really sacrifice for the greater good. They always get high character guys. I think they'll be fine. They'll be fine. But I do agree with you on this. Sometimes teams can have too much talent, like Portland in the early 2000s, Sacramento in the early 2000s. Trying to think of some other teams, but those are the two teams that come up. You know, the Pacers a year ago. Too much talent can be an issue.
Yeah.
Do the Bulls have too much talent?
I think, well, they have a really good starting five.
Yeah.
But, like, as you said, you know, you have guys who are working their butts off, and you'd want it to translate into minutes in the game and not just D-League minutes, which I hope doesn't happen to a guy like McDermott or Snell. And, you know, Dunleavy's going to play probably 35 minutes a game, Butler probably 40. So there's not much room for other guys. But if they're winning, I think they'll be happy. Maybe McDermott might take that Patty Mills towel waving type role and just wave the towel whenever something happens.
Yeah, but the one luxury this team has is if, God forbid, they go through any injuries, next man up mentality will work for them because they have so much depth. So that's the one luxury they have.
They have. Hey, Heinrich has been knowing how to play that starting role because Derrick Rose has been out. You know, Derrick Rose, his new poster is him clutching his knee.
Oh.
That's his new poster. It's him clutching his knee. You know it is.
I feel so bad for Derrick Rose. I really do. I hate the Chicago media trying to go after this young kid who's from Chicago. He's always wanted to make his team better. He loves playing the game. He doesn't disrespect anybody. He just wants to win and make sure his teammates are happy. Why do we hate this guy, honestly? Like, this guy could literally walk down the street and just be constantly criticized. What has he done?
Who do you feel worse for, Derrick Rose or Sam Bowie?
I feel so bad for them. I just want to, be their bodyguards, honestly. I would, go after the media if anybody criticizes them because injuries should not be a reason to hate, okay? Everybody has haters, we get it, but for an injury, people should get a pass.
Yeah. I agree with you. Next, Kevin Love to Warrior talks coming up again, but Golden State still not budging on giving up Klay Thompson. Do you think they ever will, or do you think we'll go into the season with Kevin Love still in the Timberwolves jersey?
It's really looking like what you just mentioned, Kevin Love maybe going back to Minnesota. I think that's a real possibility. And then maybe seeing him get traded in the All-Star break. Because Minnesota's just struggling to make a trade, honestly. I like Flip Saunders a lot. I have all the respect in the world for him. But make a trade. I mean, time is running out. You know your team's not going to be a playoff team. It's develop time. You need to develop. It's a rebuilding process. Okay? Make sure you get Love out and get either Klay Thompson from Golden State or get Wiggins from Cleveland. Make it quick. Make it quick, Minnesota. We need you to get this done.
But David Griffin in Cleveland and Flip Saunders, and the Warriors organization, they're not budging on those young stars. Cleveland's not budging on Wiggins. I don't think that Cleveland would ever give up Wiggins this year, at least.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Golden State possibility then would be the best option. But would you really give up Klay Thompson?
If it's... Because, it's not looking this way, but if it was just a straight-up 2-for-2, Martin and Love for Lee and Klay, then yeah, in a heartbeat, I'd give him up. But if you have to add Harrison Barnes, then it's a tougher decision. If it's a future first round... If it's a future first, then I'd give up. But if it's Harrison Barnes, I'm not sure because we know how good he was despite this past season having a sophomore slump. So, okay, what if it was Draymond Green instead of Harrison Barnes?
No. I wouldn't
No?
give up Draymond Green either. Draymond Green's like one of the most efficient players in the NBA. If you look at efficiency ratings, he's always in the top 10 or top 15. I don't think you give him up because he always makes the smart plays, the right plays, the championship winning plays. I don't think you give him up or Barnes. I agree with you there. Clay and Lee for Martin and Love because Kmart's such a great patient scorer. And that'll be really good for Golden State. And we know how great Kevin Love is. He can do it all at the power forward position. So I agree there, but I think Minnesota's trying to be patient, but they will make a deal. They will make a deal. I can't see Kevin Love finishing his career in Minnesota.
Yeah, this is kind of just out of the blue, but I've been kind of watching Detroit in their offseason. They've made a couple, smaller moves. DJ Augustine, Jody Meeks, Caron Butler. They got guys. They got a couple other guys. How do you see a team like Detroit? Like where do you? Oh, I just got word they waived Peyton Siva today, actually, or yesterday.
Oh.
To create space.
The Pistons. Remember last year I said they're making the playoffs?
Yeah.
I'm a little confused. I think this team has an identity crisis. Because, with Stan Van Gundy, I don't know what type of team they're going to have. They really are talented, but to me, I think their identity issue stands in the way of their success. And I don't think they'll make the playoffs.
Even with, all that height and that talent in the starting five?
I think the East has gotten way better overall, and I don't think Detroit has developed their identity and come up with it. Should Detroit give up Monroe to make Drummond, the main guy?
Well, that's the thing. Do you? Because he's a restricted free agent, so the sign and trade route would probably be the best thing, and try to get a big trade exception in return. Because those can turn into some nice pieces. But Van Gundy said he wants to have Monroe alongside Drummond in the front court. So that whole situation in Detroit, I hope they find some way to move Josh Smith because he may be the issue.
Yeah, I think it's just tough, to have Smith. Should Josh Smith make an Atlanta reunion, or do you think Bud Ball just doesn't fit his style?
I don't think the three fits his style at all. And Atlanta's got something good going. I was watching them today. I was thinking about them.
Yeah.
Their team. They have a good team. Jeff T, Corver. They brought in defense in Cephalosha.
Damari.
Millsap and Horford. Antich coming back. Mike Scott. Maybe Adrian Payne makes the squad. He didn't look that good today in the summer league, but guys like Dennis Schroeder, Shelvin Mack, they're a good team. They're a team that could be making a jump definitely from 8th, maybe like 6th.
Yeah, I think they'll be scary in the playoffs. Whoever they run into. And Atlanta, yeah, I agree. I don't think Smith should go to Atlanta. I think a great spot for Smith would be the Lakers. Because there have always been rumors about Jay Smoove coming to LA. And I think with Lynn, maybe they get Boozer. That could be special in LA.
But then again, we'd have to give up something. Or yet I don't know if we'd be willing to give up, say, if it was like a Julius Randle and a future first.
No.
Is that too much?
Yeah, that's too much. I think you got to give up Swaggy P straight up, and
Oh no!
and a second round
Please,
pick or
Swaggy.
something. No.
Swaggy brings in ticket sales straight up. People go to games just to see Swaggy P.
The Lakers don't need ticket sales. They're the most prestigious franchise maybe in sports. They're fine with ticket sales. Atlanta needs Swaggy P the most if you think about it. They struggle to even fill the arena up. Phillips Arena, I mean, okay, if the Hawks even win a championship, they will never sell out a game.
What?
Yeah, they never sell out. So Swaggy P needs to come to Atlanta and sell some more tickets with Lance Stevenson.
That would definitely sell tickets. Or does Lance maybe? I don't. Maybe does he go to New York? If they have that kind of cap space, does he maybe go back to New York with Melo and all those guys up in New York?
Yeah, it would just be 1999 all over again, where Carmelo plays the Allen Houston role. Stevenson plays the Spreewell role, and then you got Calderon trying to be like that, point guard, and it would just be very interesting how they would be able to do things. So it would be a lot of fun to see that team.
And speaking of Latrell, I don't remember who it was again, but it was on NBA TV, and I think one of the analysts compared Wiggins to Latrell Sprewell.
Oh, God.
I'm pretty sure, it was Wiggins.
No, Wiggins is not Latrell. Wiggins is more under control, is more patient. Latrell just went right to the basket, and he didn't care who was in his way. He's going to jump over the entire, defense just to get to the basket and finish acrobatically. When his jumper was overrated. It got better in New York, but it was overrated, in my opinion. Oh, God. Are we ever going to go a show without a Latrell reference? We should do...
I don't know.
We should do... You know what we should do? Remember when ESPN was, talking about Tebow, and then, Skip Bayless said, I'm going to go an entire show without talking about Tim Tebow?
Yeah.
We should do the same thing here on this show.
Yeah,
honestly.
We probably could, because with this last show, you refreshed everyone's mind about what the whole situation was with Latrell.
Oh, yeah, I gave the whole story again.
Where is he now? Oprah should do one of those Where Are They Now type stories.
You know where Latrell is?
Where?
Okay, first of all, I've been trying to contact him like crazy. There's no agent, there's nobody. I'm assuming he's 43 years old. That's on Wikipedia. And I think he lives in Minnesota. He sold his yacht, and I think he's divorced right now. I don't know what's going on with Latrell. Latrell, I'm going to get you on this show, and we're going to talk for an entire hour about your life. Okay? We are going to find you by any means necessary.
Hasn't he had some legal troubles recently?
Yeah, I think with the yacht, I think the divorce was a pretty big deal. Child support was also a big issue with Latrell. So, Latrell, if we can find a way to get you on this program, to just clear the air with our audience, because our audience really cares about you. And actually right here on Wikipedia, so Spreewell's wife sued him for $200 million.
What?
And then she claims Spreewell agreed to support her and their 4 children while they were in college. So Sprewell's going through a ton of legal issues over there. So I'm assuming either Sprewell lives in Milwaukee or he lives in Minnesota. Those are the two places for the 6'5", 195-pound physical specimen.
Speaking of physical specimens, there reports that Baron Davis is still trying to make a comeback.
Baron!
When asked what offense system he likes, he said he likes the Clippers and the Warriors, and he feels like he can play 15 to 20 minutes a game this season.
No, he should go play for the Lakers.
Oh, God. No.
You know what? Go play for Sacramento. If you want to stay in California and get 30 minutes a game, just go to Sacramento. You'll get 30 minutes a game.
No, I think he should actually go back to New York. I think Phil and Fisher would like him there.
I think he wants to stay in California.
This point in the career might be about the location. I don't know if he's in as good a shape as Gilbert Arenas, who's putting time in the gym. Who's last seen schooling T-Ross and DeMarcus.
The one thing about Gilbert, and this is kind of like the Allen Iverson syndrome. I think he plays too many games.
What do you outside of NBA or?
Yeah, I think Gilbert sometimes plays too many games, and then he starts to get lazy defensively. His practice habits start to become questionable, and then he starts to get all the criticism. And I think personally, just go in the gym, get a few cones, get a few chairs, and start dribbling around them.
Go back to the basics.
Yeah, go back to the basics. Maybe get get a personal trainer. Maybe get me as your personal trainer. I don't think. Should we do a poll on Facebook? Who's coming back, Gilbert or Baron Davis?
Yeah, we should. Who makes this a successful comeback?
Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
Not like who gets signed to a training camp invite and then is waived in the second game of preseason. Not like that.
Speaking of a guy who's kind of getting up there in age, and he might play for a very bad team. The great Jared Bayless, the great gunner, the ultimate gunner. Is he going to have a huge impact on the Bucks?
I hope he doesn't. I like Nate Walters, and I hope he doesn't take Nate Walters' minutes as backup. Or maybe, I hope he doesn't take his minutes, because, they might have Giannis Antetokounmpo as the starting shooting guard.
Oh.
And then have Jabari as a small forward. Or they put Jabari at the power forward.
I would have put Jabari at shooting guard.
What?
And just have a giant guard.
But he wouldn't be able to play the shooting guard defensively.
That's true. Then I guess you would have to put. That's going to be a giant team, though.
Yeah.
Length.
Henson and Larry Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
They may not be as bad. They're definitely not going to be as bad as they were this past season. I think that's going to belong to Philadelphia and Utah.
Yeah, Utah's just going to be maybe all-time bad. Do you think
they have some good talent though, Exum and Trey Burke?
Yeah, I agree. Do you think anybody will be all-time bad? Like the Bobcats had the worst winning percentage in NBA history a few years back. Do you think we'll have a team like that, or we'll have a bad team, but they won't be all-time bad?
I think Philadelphia will be worse than Utah. Because outside of Michael Carter-Williams and Noel and Embiid when he gets back, they don't have anyone. They have Thad Young, but I don't think anyone will be historically bad. But there will be some bad teams. There will be some 30, 40-point losses.
Yeah, just thinking about the 76ers, I don't know if you will remember this, but Do you remember the Shocked and a Fool where I think Tony Roten like ran into Thaddeus Young on the fast break or something? Do you remember that?
I don't think I saw that one, but
Oh
Tony
my
Romo
God.
he had some, yeah.
No, it was so funny. So Tony Roten got the steal. He was going to go for a layup. And Thaddeus Young just stood right in his way. And Tony Roten just fell flat onto the ground and lost the basketball out of bounds. It was one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen. I can't wait for that in Philadelphia.
I think Philly, even though Milwaukee had the worst record, I think Philly was the worst team.
Yeah, I agree.
They had some bad moments.
Horrible.
Like Milwaukee trying to make it competitive, but they lost the game. But Philly was just,
It's like they were trying to lose. It felt
yeah,
like.
they didn't even get the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's the lottery for you, but
They're trying to change the lottery too. Well, not changing it, but the competition committee is going to meet, and they might have to change the lottery.
yeah, I hope they do, honestly.
Why?
Because to me, they should make it like the NFL.
No, because if they make it's not really a lottery. It's just vying for the worst record, and then that's really tanking. You know that's really tanking.
Well,
you know if you have the worst record, you have the best chance.
okay, I have to say this: if a team purposely tanks, and it's really obvious, then the team should get fined.
But NBA players and teams know how to make it not look obvious.
Okay, but
all these analytics and all these stats, they're gonna make it look like, oh, they did this, but they lost. They
well,
lost.
I think you should bug like all NBA facilities, and if they ever mention tanking, then there should be an investigation. Like, okay, you know this. If an NBA player purposely throws it out of bounds, you don't think that's suspicious?
It is, but
You can't fake the game that well.
That's the way to go. There has to be some sort of randomization, not just worst team, you get the number 1 pick, second worst. Because I don't think that's. There has to be some sort of randomization.
But that's not fair to like. Orlando struck big in the lottery. They weren't even in the 90s. They got Shaq and Penny Hardaway. And they weren't even the worst team. It's so, like, it's too random in a bad way. I think you need to have it like the NFL because now, if anybody purposely tanks, there needs to be an investigation. First of all NBA facilities should be bugged.
What kind of penalty should it be? Like loss of draft pick that year?
Like, I think you should get $1 million. Take it, like, you should lose a draft pick.
Whoa.
Yeah, you should lose a draft pick. If you tank, yeah. You're gonna lose it.
Okay, yeah, that's. Maybe they'll find a way to so it's. I don't know. Maybe they'll change it. Maybe they'll leave it the same and just say Cleveland cannot get the number 1 pick, or they'll have to give up the number 1 pick to any other team.
Well, they'll have to trade it then.
Yeah, something like that.
What about?
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say some more news, but go ahead, finish.
No, your news first.
All right. Really interesting summer league action. Steve Kerr can get testy too. He got his first technical as a Golden State Warrior. He said some really bad stuff, and then he was clapping and celebrating and putting on a circus show.
Wow.
Is Steve Kerr trying to, because we see this a lot in, basketball coaches. Coaches try to be like other people. Do you think Kerr is trying too much to be like other coaches, and does he need to stick just to trying to be himself?
summer league. Like I know Jason Kidd got one last year, so maybe he's trying to be like him. Maybe he's trying to be the next kid, and get a try. Maybe he's gonna ask Andre Iguodala to bump into him and spill his drink. Maybe he's gonna go the kid route, but I don't know. I think maybe he's trying to emulate other coaches because he doesn't know any better. Maybe he's trying to be like Alvin Gentry, who was at Phoenix with him. But I don't know. Don't get teased in the summer league. It's summer league. Come on, Kerr.
I know. You're ruining it for the young players. They get frazzled after technicals. So, come on, Steve Kerr. I expect better from you.
Who's another couple days in the free agency starting to wind down. The big names are all gone. The biggest name is probably Stevenson still. But who's your free agency winner right now?
Well, should I be like ESPN and just go and say Cleveland or what? No. Chicago. Yeah, I think when you have the two best passing big men, and I think when you finally have more creators on offense, and that was your biggest need. You have it all filled up. You have great depth. You have a great head coach. I mean, you have a perfect team.
Mine's gonna sound really interesting. My free agent winner is the Miami Heat.
Okay. I want to hear this one.
They lost their best player, but they didn't give up. They somehow were able to convince Chris Bosh, who basically had his bags packed and was going back home to his nearby home, Houston. Everyone thought it was gone. Everyone thought once LeBron left, okay, Bosh is gone too, but Bosh stayed, and they were able to get. They already had McRoberts and Granger, but they were able to get a big name like Luol Deng, who Riley said was basically one of the biggest free agent signings in the history of the franchise. That may be definitely a little overstated, but still, they got Deng, they got Wade. So I think that was a great move by the organization and the franchise to not give up once they lost LeBron. So that's why my winner is Miami.
And I actually agree with you too because they are one of the winners in a way. I agree because you look at Miami, they still have a lot of money too. They didn't lose as much really money-wise, and I think they're still a free agency destination.
Who's your free agent loser? Like ultimate free agent loser.
Oh my God, that's so tough. I can't even think of one. I'm gonna go Sacramento.
What?
Yeah, Sacramento. I think when you lose Isaiah Thomas, you're losing a huge piece for the future. And I thought Sacramento had an opportunity to get even better. Well, they did get Darren Collison, so... No, I don't know. I can't think of a loser right now.
My free agent loser is my very own Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, okay.
They lost. They had a legitimate chance with Melo, and they lost out on him. They lost out on LeBron, who was probably more of a pipe dream. Pau Gasol walked. We didn't get Luol Deng, so we had to settle for re-signing Nick Young and trading for Jeremy Lin. So, if this summer's supposed to be a turnaround for us, it wasn't. So that's mine. And my second is probably Phoenix.
Wait, whoa. Well, and free agency, okay.
Yeah, they're still a good team. I don't know if they're playoff good.
Whoa. Wait a minute, Phoenix?
They didn't really. Oh wait, sorry. Never mind. I forgot they got Isaiah.
All
I
right.
got Isaiah.
I actually figured it out. You said your Lakers. My Celtics.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think they made. I still think they had a chance for Kevin Love. I really do.
Really? You think?
Well, they were in the run for it. I think Gerald Wallace is at the end, and I think he needs to go. Uh, the team kind of lacks identity right now. Um, you have great guards. You've got Jared Sullinger, but I don't know. They're missing that extra star, and they had that opportunity to stay in the trade talks, but they didn't, and I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, that's. You think they go and try to get Lance Stevenson? Maybe he can play the small forward position.
Mm,
You don't.
no, they're too loaded at guards.
As much as you like Stevenson,
I like him a lot, but I don't think he would fit in Boston. I think him and Gerald Wallace would fight in the locker room every single night. I mean, honestly, those guys just can't get along. And that would be an interesting fight, by the way. I think they need Kevin Love. I mean, every team would love to have him, but imagine a Jared Sullinger, Kevin Love front court.
they'd have to give up Sullinger
No, they would give up Jeff Green.
and Olynyk in a future first.
I would do that. I would put Sullinger at center, Love at power forward, Rondo at point guard, shooting guard Avery Bradley.
And then Gerald Wallace as small forward.
I'll put Marcus Thornton. Actually, I'll put Keith Bogans at small forward. And I'll make Vitor Favarani as my sixth man.
You must really not like Gerald Wallace.
I'm mad at him right now.
Wait, why?
Because he was a huge locker room distraction last year. I can't believe some of the things that he said. Some of the stuff that came out of his mouth were just purely inappropriate to his teammates. You do not call out your teammates the way that he did last year. You have to agree with that. I know people are laughing at this because they're like, oh, it's the Celtics, they didn't make the playoffs, who cares? But it could be the difference. But I'm enough talking about the Celtics. I'm so mad at Gerald Wallace right now. Let's talk about... What else do you want to talk about? Do you have anything else to say, maybe before we head on out?
No, that's it. Keep watching Summer League. The tournament starts tomorrow. Tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it does, yeah.
Could my Julius Randle-led Lakers make it to the finals?
I think they could.
Hey, we got Kendall Marshall coming back. He's just dishing up. Actually, I think the team to watch is Cleveland and I think Utah.
Yeah, Utah's got something special over there with Rodney Hood and Exum, the two premier guards in the NBA. Oh my God, Rodney Hood! Who was the? Did you hear the analyst? I mean, it was Vince Cellini, but who was the analyst? You know?
It was Martine Cleaves.
Oh, it was Mateen Cleaves. Oh my God, I love Mateen. Mateen Cleaves was just like, he was so happy for Rodney Hood. It was such an emotional moment seeing Rodney Hood perform so well. That was great.
Yeah, some of those, I mean, the play-by-play guys are good, but some of these color commentators are
Oh my God.
something else.
Kendall Gill's just like ranting, like praising himself. Rick Mahorn is talking about how everybody needs to foul each other. Mateen Cleaves is overreacting on every Rodney Hood 18-foot jump shot.
The only sane one is Grant Hill.
Yeah, Grant Hill is the only one that talks about basketball, like real basketball.
Have you heard Walt Frazier?
Wait, he did a few Knicks games?
No, I don't even know. They weren't even Knicks games. They were just normal games. He did a Kings game. Walt Frazier was on, and he was just like stating the obvious, like that was a terrible shot.
Was he just talking about how he loves Carmelo and drooling over Phil Jackson? Every 2 seconds he talks about how great Carmelo Anthony is. I know, we all love Carmelo, but he's not Michael Jordan right now.
Oh gosh.
Summer League. Make sure you tune into NBA TV, the home of 24/7 basketball and Rodney Hood jump shots. So make sure you tune into that.
Endless Andrew Wiggins highlights too.
Yeah, oh my god. And the starters with Lee Ellis.
The starters too.
It's been a great night. It's been a great show. Everything was great tonight. Any shout-outs for anybody?
No shout-outs.
I've got no shout-outs either. I really want to say something about a television personality, but I'm going to keep it to myself.
You sure you don't want to say it?
No. You know what? Okay, I'll let me say this. If this television personality continues to act this way, okay, I'll leave out the name, but I'll just talk about it. A television personality, highly respected, and one of my favorite guys, was really mean to me in an email, okay? Now, if it was his agent or something, I'll let him off the hook. But if it was him, I'm ranting the next time we come on. So, that's In the Paint. That's a wrap. And thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.